Hello and welcome. This is Ethan, and in this video, I am just going to be messing around with my new xRV expected run value metric, just kind of checking out some of the outliers and watching some videos about some pitches that my metric that I just finished building, um, some pitches that the metric likes and doesn't like, and fun individual pitches and stuff like that. So hopefully you enjoy, but um, all right, let's get going here. So I'm going to start off sharing my screen. Um, and this is my R session going on right now. These are the ideas for things that I want to go over here. Best individual pitch, worst individual pitch, best pitch to get hit for a homer, worst pitch to go for an out, kind of the pitcher getting away with one, and then the best pitcher pitch type, worst pitcher pitch type. So yeah, let's start out with, I'm going to show you this final MLB is this data frame that I have. That's kind of where all my predictions are. I have a column called Preds, which is the predicted linear weight run value for every pitch in the data set, every pitch that was thrown in 2020 last season. So along with basically all the other information that comes from StatCast that's publicly available. So I'm going to start by running this table. This is going to give us the aggregated prediction xRV, expected run values, for every pitcher and every pitch type last season. So we see that the best pitcher pitch type last season was predicted to be Corey Kluber's changeup that he threw once. So we are going to start out with the best pitcher pitch types, top three. So these are things like Devin Williams changeup, Jacob deGrom's slider, for example, like things that pitches that people really talk about a lot as these are the best pitches in baseball. But according to my metric, we will see what or which pitcher pitch types actually should be getting all that credit. So we know that with a really small sample size, the aggregations don't really make much sense. For example, I don't think that Charlie Culberson really has the best four-seam fastball, even though he did get an out on that pitch the one time he threw it this year. So I'm going to increase the pitch count minimum to 150-ish. I think that should kind of give us an idea. So looking at this, the best pitcher pitch type last year, minimum 150 pitches, was actually Zach Plesac's slider, according to this metric. I am going to pull up the StatCast search. We're going to be using this a good amount on Baseball Savant. Super awesome resource. But instead of StatCast search, I think I'm actually just going to go to, actually, no, never mind. So here, we're going to just look up slider, pitchers, Plesac, and we're just going to look for some whiffs. So this should bring us every slider that Zach Plesac threw last season. There it is, 216, same as we saw earlier. And a lot of these are going to be not that interesting to watch, fouls or balls, grounding into a double play. I kind of want to see a like a strikeout looking. If we can find one of those real quick, call that on strikes. Let's check that out. Hopefully these videos render pretty well on the Zoom. We'll see. Interesting. Okay, that's not exactly what I was expecting. That pitch did not seem to have a whole lot of horizontal movement, kind of moving glove side, which I would have expected from the, quote unquote best slider that's out there. Let's check a couple other videos and see if that movement is kind of the same as what we saw on the last one. Interesting. Okay. So Plesac seems like he's a guy who has a pretty good um, velocity on his fastball. So I'm gonna check that out to see if maybe there's kind of a velocity difference element to this slider being really good, kind of like in comparison. Again, we're going to be using Baseball Savant. Great stuff. Here we go. Here's what we were looking for. Fastball velocity, not that good. 46th percentile. Looks like it's a little below league average, 93 miles an hour on average. Great walk rate. That doesn't really tell us much. The slider's actually faster than league average at 86 miles an hour. So I'm wondering if this may be kind of more like a cutter, since it's pretty close in velocity to his fastball. Um, let's see. Yeah, definitely more of like a gyro slider than what I would call like a turbo slider, which you may be thinking of like Trevor Bauer, which has a ton of glove side movement. This is more of a gyro pitch. He tends to kind of spot that outside, which we saw on these two videos. Let's see how he's getting whiffs. Is it the kind of same outside, low and out slider? 0-2 count. Let's see. Yeah, interesting. 88 miles an hour. That thing kind of looks more like a cutter to me. It's moving more down than a cutter would. But very interesting. All right, we're going to check out one more from Zach Plesac's slider and then see who else we have. 3-2 pitch. Interesting. Interesting. This pitch looked pretty hittable. Let's just check it out again. Yes, and I just missed it. Kind of a high whiff guy there, so I'm not too surprised, but interesting. All right, so the Zach Plesac slider is among the most successful in predicted run value or expected run value um, by my metric. And if you look at actual run value, it did really well last year as well. That's this number here. This is expected runs saved or runs prevented per 100 pitches that he threw of that pitch type for both run value and expected run value. So kind of, you could say prevented about 2.34 expected runs. So kind of cool there. All right, the next one is going to be the Adam Kolarek sinker. Very interesting to see a sinker on this list. Sinkers typically are the worst pitch, at least in 2020, to throw in terms of just overall average results. But Adam Kolarek is just built different, I guess. So let's take a look at every sinker he threw. 201 this season. And again, I'm going to kind of look for some called strikeouts just so we can see how the pitch moves. Lefty, lefty. I mean, that's just great location there. 2-2 pitch, 90 miles an hour. Oops. 90 miles an hour there. So not anything too crazy. He's not blowing it by anyone, but probably some pretty extreme movement here. Let's see again. 89 miles an hour, 1-2 count. Interesting. There looked to be on this pitch some really good horizontal approach angle. It looks almost like it's coming from, like he's releasing the ball from behind the lefty and having it move all the way across the body to where the lefty's going to think, oh, this looks like a ball. I'm not going to swing. And then some kind of that arm side horizontal movement just keeps it in the strike zone. Let's check this out again. Great angle, by the way. Interesting. Also, one more thing I want to note, he's lining up on the far third base side, which if he wanted to maximize that horizontal approach angle, he'd be lining up on the first base side. So kind of interesting, interesting there. And he has that really low arm slot, which I think my model tends to like a good amount. So anyway, cool. Let's see if he is going to be able to get any whiffs on this. We see a home run, a lot of ground outs. That's the big thing for a sinker. Let's actually look at one of these ground outs. Base is loaded, 2 outs. Great location. Interesting. All right. So it looks like more of a ground ball pitch than a whiff pitch, but that really makes sense. If you think about how this metric works, it's basically averaging all of the potential results together, weighted by how good or bad each result is. So it makes sense that a pitch that's getting weak contact is going to do better than a pitch that's getting whiffs, because weak contact is going to be in the major leagues close to a guaranteed out. An out is worth about negative 0.25 runs for the, so I guess it's worth 0.25 runs to the pitching team, whereas a whiff is only worth, I believe, 0.03 um, runs for the pitching team on average. So it does make sense that this kind of like weak contact pitch is kind of ranks really high here. So I think we got an idea. I think we know what a good sinker looks like, and Adam Kolarik's is one of the best. So we're going to. Oh, actually, I wanted to check one more thing. I wanted to check Adam Kolarik's whiff rate on this pitch. I guess this is kind of like whiff rate in general. And I know he has a good slider as well. Um, I'm suspecting he doesn't get a ton of whiffs because of that low velocity. But maybe like low XBA, low X slugging, that kind of stuff. Well, low fastball velo, low fastball spin. I don't know why everything else isn't showing up, but there is nothing I can do about that. So a lot of sinkers though, 80% usage on that sinker. So he's riding and dying with that pitch. Cool. That was Adam Kolarik. Now let's move on to our last one, the Trevor Bauer slider. All right. I know a lot of people are going to be very interested in some any analysis Trevor Bauer related, but here we go. This is not something that I did on purpose. This is just something that happened to be spit out. So let's check it out. So for anyone who is looking for a more visually appealing slider than Zach Plesac's, I think we are going to get that here. Looking for, again, some look at all the strikeout swingings. That's pretty crazy. So a slider like this, it's really going to have to get swinging strikes, because a lot of the times the pitch is actually outside of the strike zone. And if the guy isn't swinging, then it's going to be called a ball. And, you can't strike out looking on a ball. So this pitch, I'm not too surprised, is getting a ton of whiffs. Here is Javi Baez. Yeah, look at that. So of course it's a great pitch. If my guy is just standing in the box and not swinging, then it's not going to be a strike, right? And it's really not that good of a pitch. The thing is, the way that hitters' minds work when they're hitting it, when they're trying to hit, is that they're expecting a pitch to be a fastball most of the time. So if it looks like a fastball and then moves like crazy, they're going to swing and miss. So let's check that out again. This is really fun to watch. A lot of horizontal movement, a good amount of vertical movement too. Okay, let's see a couple other ones. How about new Padre Victor Caratini? Maybe Padre teammates with Bauer. Who knows? All right, righty lefty. This is interesting that he's going slider here. Looks like back foot. Not back foot, but this one had much more like depth, it looks like. Maybe it's just the camera angle. I'm going to play it again. 1-2 pitch. Looks like it's going to be on the outside corner, and just dies really. Not really a ton of of horizontal movement there. So very interesting. All right. I'm not too sure what else. Okay, here we go. We can get one more called strikeout here to a righty, and on a 3-2 pitch. Interesting. So he's throwing one actually in the zone here. Front door, front hip slider with a little bit of a swaggy K walk. Pretty nice. Let's watch that again. Yeah, this is a really good pitch by stuff and also by location. It seems like he's able to put it in the zone when he wants to and put it where he wants to outside of the zone a lot of the time too. So that is that's pretty cool. So there we go. Some of the other honorable mentions here. We've got the Dallas Keuchel cutter. Pretty good sample size on that. Couple other sinkers, couple other sliders, and you'll see the Devin Williams changeup here. I know a lot of people have been talking about that pitch, and it is an incredible pitch. If we look at actual run value, so this is the success rate, or not rate, but the success of pitches that like actually happen, not a prediction. Then Devin Williams is what, seventh in the majors with that changeup. So that's pretty cool. We are now going to move on to the worst pitcher pitch types. So we are going to instead sort the other way. And all right, so first one, Ryan Harper fastball. Ryan Harper, I can't say I even know what team he played for in 2020. I think it might have been the Nationals, or maybe that was, um, yeah, it was the Nationals. All right, so let's see what is so wrong with this pitch that uh, my model doesn't like it. To be fair, if you are throwing a pitch type 150 times in a season, even in 2020, you have to be like kind of good. Because if you're really that bad, you're not going to get the chance to throw 150 fastballs. So let's see a strikeout, and then we'll watch a couple massive homers. All right. All right, so 89 on the four-seam fastball, 88.9. It did get the whiff. Interesting that that was elevated. It did not look to have much ride at all, to me. It looks like this pitch is almost like sinking a little bit. I don't know. Let's watch it again. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much carry there. Um, I'm going to search him real quick. Probably not the most popular Harper being searched on Baseball Savant, but let's see what we got here um, on Ryan. All right, so he throws his sliders 50% of the time. So his fastball is almost like a secondary pitch for him. Kind of makes sense given that it is not very good. Did not get great results in 2020. Fastball velocity 6th percentile. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Got a nice kind of slow slider thing with a curve. So the fastball is really just to kind of keep hitters off of this slider. And it seems like he does not do that very well too often. So let's watch a couple dongs and see how this fastball looks when it's not doing very well. Wow. Okay. Um, 409 feet dead center. Let's see where this pitch was. It was elevated up and out right over, allowing Andrew Knapp, not super known for his offensive prowess, but he was able to extend on that pitch. Yeah, I would not be throwing this pitch at the top of the zone if I were Ryan Harper or his advisors. Let's see a DD Gregorius homer. That sounds fun. Okay, so if you can't throw it high and you can't throw it low, um, not great, not great. Okay, we don't need to beat up on Ryan Harper too much. We get it. Okay, this will be interesting though. Some Brandon Workman knuckle curves. So I think a knuckle curve is going to be a different kind of bad. Um, Shout out to um, this website, Baseball Savant. Super awesome and useful all the time. So let's just preemptively pull up Brandon Workman's page because we're going to want to know. 156 pitches, right near our arbitrary border that we set up at 150 pitches. Let's see what happens when it's going well. Eric Thames, strikeout swinging, 3-2 pitch. Yeah, that's a nice pitch. I mean, that's what it looks like when it's going well, right? That's the kind of 12-6. That's why it's called a knuckle curve and not a curve, is because it moves more vertically than horizontally. Let's watch it again. Looks kind of like a Nick Anderson curve. That's a good one. All right, that he put it right where he wanted to. Mad respect for throwing a 3-2 pitch in the dirt in that situation. So good for him. Let's check out what this pitch looks like. So he throws it 39% of the time at 79 miles an hour. So usually a knuckle curve or a 12-6 curve is going to be thrown a little bit harder than this. Especially when your fastball is only 92, you would hope that, your curveball can kind of tunnel off of that and look like it's a fastball for a little bit. Obviously, Brandon Workman had very awful results last year. Curve spin 60th percentile, so not awful, I guess. Okay K rate, really was like walking people, and the fastball wasn't good to keep people off of this curveball. So maybe that's an aspect of why the curveball did not have great results. But I would like to see what happens when this pitch is hit very hard. So Juan Soto, do the honors, 105.6 exit velocity, 409. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Look at this middle, box number 5. That's not where you want to live if you're a knuckle curveball artist. Let's see this again. Notice how it never looks like a fastball. It's up and down. Like a hitter like Juan Soto is going to see that. And on a 1-2 count, no less. Hopefully this didn't, end up mattering. It was late in the game, but wow, on a 1-2 count, let's see where he was intending to put it. Maybe bottom of the zone. It looks like he's not trying to bounce it like he was on the previous one. Maybe he should have been, but here we go. Wow. Okay. That was awesome. Let's watch another one because that was so fun. Acuna walks, Acuna strikes out. Interesting. It's not all bad. Not too many homers. Good amount of walks, good amount of hits. Not too many really only 2 homers. I think there was one up here that I didn't click on, the Brandon Nimmo one. Let's check that out. And then we will move on to the next category. Yeah, geez, that's the exact same thing. In a tie game, second pitch he threw, top of the 9th. This probably was the entire outcome of the game being determined right here. 102 miles an hour off the bat. Yeah, this is pretty brutal. Again, it doesn't look like he's trying to bounce it. It looks like he's aiming to kind of maybe start it at the top of the zone and drop it down and cross the plate in the zone on the bottom of the zone. But that's a very risky thing to do. And we see here the risk does not pay off. Some Brandon on Brandon crime. Oh my gosh. That's fun to watch. Come on. All right. So that was that. Sorry, Brandon Workman. Sorry, Ryan Harper. All right. We're going to have one more. It's the Steve Cishek sinker. This allowed an expected 5 runs per 100 pitches, and he threw the pitch 168 times. That is about 8 runs worth of damage that was done on this pitch alone on average. So pretty bad. Let's check this out. Steve Cishek is known for his really low slot delivery. And again, I said earlier, that's something that I think this model likes a good amount. So, but like the model likes good results, right? It's not just about arm slot. It's also about what you do in that arm slot. So here is a strikeout. We're going to check out the strikeout first. 1-2 count, 90 miles an hour. So really not much velo behind it. I'm expecting a lot of movement here. Let's see. Interesting. So we have an elevated sinker. That may seem like an oxymoron and something that doesn't happen too often. Um, but let's watch it again. It does look like it has a good amount of movement, both arm side and some kind of drop. You can tell because it's not riding up in the zone. It's kind of looks like it goes down a little bit. So let's watch it again. Definitely made sense here that this individual pitch was good, but like I don't see that working all that often. Um, Going forward. Like it's not really a sustainable pitch to be throwing high sinkers like that. So we've got a couple walks. We've got some flyouts. Flyouts is kind of interesting for a sinker baller. Kind of makes me wonder if he's throwing these pitches high in the zone. Let's watch that again. We're going to watch this flyout and see if these pitches are located up or if they're down. It'd be weird for me if they were down because those pitches are typically ground balls. So it's inside. All right, cool. Don't really know what to do with that, but so here's Steve Cishek's profile. He's about half slider, half fastball, which is just his sinker. Really low fastball velocity, 17th percentile. Does get a fair amount of whiffs. I would suspect a lot of those are on the slider, which is only thrown at 78 miles an hour, kind of a loopy slider. And then good fastball spin, or not good, but a little bit better than average fastball spin. Everything else is not good. I mean, a two-pitch pitcher like this, you really need to have one of your pitches be really good to kind of keep everyone off. Or I guess if you have a really good pitch, I suspect his slider's a lot better than his sinker. But if your sinker is not that good, it seems like everyone is just going to be sitting on that slider and adjusting to the sinker. Maybe that's why they're popping out or flying out a lot, but I'm not super sure. That's just kind of a theory. So let's check out this Edward Olivares bomb, see what happens when the sinker does not go well. Interesting. Okay, I don't think this was a bad pitch. It says it was in the strike zone here in box number 7. Not a bad box to be in. If I pause it, and I'm going to pause it real quick, this actually has it as being mostly outside the zone. So kind of just a good piece of hitting, but 88 miles an hour on the inside. You're not, most guys aren't going to be behind that. They're not going to be late on that. So maybe not the best pitch, but like I kind of don't. I think that's exactly where he was trying to put that. First pitch of his outing, it looks like. Oh, actually, maybe not. Sorry, I'm gonna go back one more time. Yeah, so first pitch of his outing. Maybe this is just good scouting. The Royals knew that that's what Cishek likes to do to start his outings or something like that. Not an awful pitch. Let's see what happens when Whit Merrifield takes a bomb to left center. Probably less fluky here. Interesting, another high and in, or this one was high and in, but not in the strike zone. So, I mean, seems like kind of brutal luck to be getting taken deep on pitches that aren't even strikes. But if he's doing that a lot, this model is going to be like, okay, look, either the pitch is a ball or they're hitting it really hard. And those are two results that are not going to be very good for you in a metric like this. So, all right, last home run from Domingo Santana. I'm hoping this one is actually in the zone for Steve Cishek's sake. There's a tongue twister. Steve Cishek shake. Steve Cishek shake. Yeah, it looks like he's just trying to throw this kind of like 80 poo slider sinker with um you know it's not really fooling anyone, and he's trying to put it on the inside corner, and whether he succeeds or fails, it's just not a good pitch. Not good enough to get whiffs. Okay, so that was fun. Those are the overall worst pitches. Here we have other kind of honorable mentions: Anibal Sanchez fastball, Chase Anderson, Tanner Roark sinker, Neverauskas fastball, Ross Stripling fastball, Tommy Malone. He lives off that changeup. and then Phillips Valdez and his sinker. So interesting. Now we are going to just reset this here. Don't worry about that for now. I'm going to now run this kind of preset code that I already had. We're looking for now the best individual pitch. So, there's about 250,000 pitches that were thrown last season. We are looking for, by this metric, by xRV, the best one. So we'll look at a couple of these. So the first one, Aaron Loop, 7th inning, 0-0, 2 outs, and it's a cutter. So I'm going to try to search that up real quick. Again, this tool is amazing. I believe that this was a cutter. Cutter, fastball cut. Count was 0-0. There were 2 outs. It was the 7th inning. The pitcher was Aaron Loop. Let's see if that gets us pretty close. 6 pitches. Which of these is the best one? This was we're looking for a field out, and only one of these pitches was an out. All the other ones were called strike, ball, 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 called strike. So this is the one we're looking at. And let's play it, see what happens. Best pitch of 2020. Don't at me. Okay, so doesn't look like the best pitch, right? It's an 86.4 mile an hour cutter, right down the middle. This was, if not a barrel, then pretty close to a barrel, leaving the bat 98.5 miles an hour at a pretty good launch angle. It looks like Josh Harrison was able to square it up a little bit, but the reason that this model likes pitches like these is that pitches like these, according to the model, are generally either called strikes, especially on 0-0, which the model doesn't take into account, so forget that. But they're either going to be called strikes, probably not swinging strikes, but sometimes foul, which is a good outcome for the pitcher. And cutters are kind of funky, get a lot of foul balls, or they're hit into play for outs. So that's the reason that the model is predicting that this pitch, if thrown, 100 times, would be worth, what is that, about 2? Well, I guess that'd be worth 20 runs per 100 pitches, which on the individual level, probably not the best way to think about it, but generally worth, negative 0.2 runs, and an out is negative 0.24. So the model basically thinks that this pitch is going to be an out almost all the time. So because it's a pitch that people are swinging at, but they think it's a fastball. It comes in as a cutter. Maybe it's off the end of the bat or off the handle, and they're not able to hit it that hard. So here, Josh Harrison did hit it pretty hard, but that's on average what the model thinks. So here we have Alex Young, 3rd inning, 1-2 count, and no outs. I would be lying to you if I told you that I knew who Alex Young is. We had a 1-2 count. We had no outs. I'm definitely going to need to look at this again. Alex Young. There we go. Oh, he is a Diamondback. Interesting. 3rd inning, I believe. Let's make sure. 3rd inning. And we're talking about a curveball, which should narrow things down. All right. Alex Young, 2 of these. Again, we're looking for a field out. Top one's not a field out. This one is a field out. So let's check it out. 2nd best pitch of the year, according to the xRV model, against Trent Grisham. All right, good pitch. You wouldn't expect anything crazy from it, but we've got a lefty curveball coming in at 81.5 miles an hour, well located outside. This is a pitch that to a lefty is a lot of the time I feel like gonna get a rollover, which is exactly what happens here. Let's watch it again. Yeah, I think this pitch just ended up a little bit lower than Grisham was expecting it to. Maybe this pitch has kind of some sneaky vertical movement or combination of vertical and horizontal movement. Um, yeah, just kind of interesting. That's a pitch that if it's not swung at, it's probably going to be called a strike. Maybe it's fouled off a good amount, but it looks like it's probably not going to be squared up very often. And in this case, it was not. So cool. I'm gonna close that tab. We have the third best. This is gonna be the last one I focus on. The fourth one is another Aaron Loop cutter. Interesting. And then we have a Ross Stripling knuckle curve, which we just saw the Ross Stripling fastball is actually one of the worst fastballs in the league. So that's kind of interesting. But we're going to look at Victor Gonzalez, kind of a breakout star from last season, a sinker that he actually didn't get an out on. It was a field error. So eighth inning 2-2. Sorry, you got to check how many outs. No outs. So you can skip this part if you want. Oh shit, no outs. 2-2. Sinker. Sinker in the eighth inning by Victor Gonzalez. Okay. Only two pitches, and again, we're looking for a field error, which probably does not happen too often. Throwing error by Corey Seager. Here we go. Let's check it out. Oof. That's a pretty brutal error there. So looking at the pitch, this is really interesting. So it's 2-2. He's throwing a really nicely spotted sinker on the outside. Again, this model loves pitches that are in the zone and that would be um, called strikes if they weren't swung at, and that they're basically weak contact inducing. So not going to be a ton of um, powerful swings against this type of hit, or I guess I should say powerful swings at a good launch angle. So this exit velocity is 102.8. That's pretty good. But when your hit distance is 9 feet, I think that's a win for the pitcher. So let's watch it again. Focus on the location. I mean, 96 miles an hour sinker out there. That's gonna be tough. And it looks like Sam Haggerty here actually was ahead of it. I was gonna say it's gonna be pretty hard to get ahead of that pitch, but he did pull it. So interesting. At this point, I want to note that I don't think that this model is very well suited to be the kind of juror of what's the best pitch and what's the worst pitch of the season. We just saw the three best pitches by this metric of the season, and none of them were particularly interesting or noteworthy. I don't think that's the strength of this particular model, but I do think it's fun, and that's why I'm doing this here today. So next, we're going to look at the worst individual pitches. So the worst thing that can happen if you're a pitcher is a home run, right? So a home run is worth on average 1.38 runs. So these essentially are going to be pitches that have the highest probability of being home runs. Maybe they also have probabilities of being a double or hard hit single that would bring this number down. Remember, Preds is the predicted run value, kind of like xRV, but for individual pitches. So let's check this out. So we have sixth inning, 0-1, 2 outs on a Richard Lovelady changeup. Kind of a lot to remember at once. 6-0-1. Lovelady, kind of a funny name. Forgot the outs. 2 outs. And a changeup, which is interesting. I am expecting a hanging changeup right down the middle that was hit very hard. So we will see if that is what happened. Jose Ramirez. Damn. Don't want to miss one to this guy. Off the foul pole. Cool. Okay, so we have a changeup that is out of the zone, actually. The model is probably thinking, all right, so if this wasn't swung at, it'd be a ball. And if it was swung at, the few times that it was swung at, probably it was hit very hard. So let's check it out again. I was a little surprised. It seems kind of like more slidery. Um, it may have just been a really big miss. I don't think that lefties are really trying to jam a really good right-handed hitter inside with a changeup, but maybe he was, maybe it was a miss. Either way, it didn't end well. Let's watch it again. Looks like it was supposed to be there. Salvador Perez was set up low and in here. We can check that out. Pre-pitch. Yeah, he was set up right there, and Lovelady didn't miss much, but not a great pitcher. So, all right, that was that. These are unsurprisingly all going to be home runs. Samardzija. Okay, so this one's come up with a few times. 2-0 count, 2 outs, third inning. You guys, especially Padres fans, are going to be interested in this pitch. Believe it's a cutter. That Samardzija cutter is really not all that good by this metric. So here we are, Fernando Tatis Jr. See, now when I first saw this surprised me because it's a cutter. Yeah, it's a cutter. It's 2-0. Tatis is probably looking for something like this. 86 miles an hour is not going to help you on a fastball. 458 feet, geez. But it's not like it's right down the middle, right? I mean, that's not really an awful spot to miss. But in terms of just kind of like the expected value of a pitch like this, it's either going to be a ball or it got hit hard, right? And pitches like this probably weren't thrown all that often in the season this year, so it's probably a ball most of the time, and then even one or two big extra base hits like this can kind of make the value of this pitch seem really bad. And I'd argue that it was pretty bad, not awful. Probably wouldn't call it the second worst pitch of the season, but here we are, and I'm just saying what the robot here is saying. So, another Jeff Samardzija pitch is another Jeff Samardzija cutter. Actually, you know what? Let's look at that one real quick. Let's see if it's the same. So we got a third inning, 2-2-2. Deuce is wild on a cutter. Okay. Let's see if it's a similar pitch here. Kind of interested. Samardzija's kind of at this point known for giving up absolute bombs. So not too surprised, but here we go. So I have not seen this one yet. This one's a Mookie Betts homer. Okay, so we got some star power in this segment. Hitting homers. Let's check it out. Already has a double in the game. Okay, that's what we would expect. That's a pitch that everyone knew, right? Especially with 2 strikes. Look at Samardzija's reaction after he throws this pitch. He knew. I didn't know it was possible to hang a cutter, but he did. We're seeing the same velocity. That's a pitch that it's probably not going to be called a ball very often, but it is going to elicit some damage from the offense. So kind of interesting. We have one more pitch, but yeah, let's check that out. So 4th inning, 2-1-0 sinker from Zach Godley. 4th inning, 2-1 sinker. I believe there were no outs from Godley. Oh, I forgot he was on the Red Sox. I thought he was a Diamondback. Let's just make sure. Yeah, no outs. Okie dokie. Who did the damage this time? Let's find out. Josh Harrison. Josh Harrison's second appearance in this short video. Wow. Oh, on Jackie Robinson Day, no less. All right, let's see. High sinker, 87 miles an hour. Hit to dead center. 429 feet for the Nationals utility player. Let's check that out again. That was pretty brutal. Wow. All right, cool. So those were the worst pitches of the year, worst individual pitches. Let's get into the next part here in a second. All right, team. Full disclosure, just went and had dinner, but I'm back and we're ready to kick this back up right where we left off. So we're looking at the best pitch to get taken deep. So the pitch with the most negative prediction that was hit for a home run. So let's check it out. We actually have a Clayton Kershaw. So of all pitches that ended up being a home run, none of them were particularly good. So let's just say that right now. It's not like this pitch was that amazing, but it was the best of the pitches that were hit out for home runs. So Clayton Kershaw, 0-1, no outs, fourth inning on a fastball. So let's check that out. Still fourth inning. We've got 0-1. Pretty sure that was no outs. Kershaw. And this should be easy. We're looking for a home run, so. Oh, whoops. Let's see what we got here. No balls, one strike, no outs. Fourth inning. No balls, one strike, no outs. Fourth inning. Oh, not a sinker. Not a sinker. It was a four-seam fastball. All right, the Justin Upton home run, the best pitch to be hit for a home run this season. A less than 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Well spotted. Well spotted. Okay, I mean, I'm happy with that. We have a pitch that was thrown nice and, in this nice little location. I think that anyone would be happy with a pitch right there. It's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, so to a good hitter, that's, that if they're looking for a fastball like Justin Upton usually is, that is not too surprising. But also, I'm happy with that. That's pretty cool. All right, so now let's look for. Do we want to see another one? I do personally. So Matt Boyd, kind of don't want to pick on him, but you know what? This Hyunjin Ryu changeup this season was very good. If we quickly look over here at changeups and then sort by how good they were, Ryu's changeup was actually the third best changeup, minimum 150 pitches. So it's kind of surprising to me that one of them got taken deep. So let's check that one out. Whoop. Wrong button. Okay. So we are looking for a Ryu. I think I'm just going to say Ryu, changeup, and then homer. That should probably be faster than doing this. Ryu, changeup, pitch result. Not really what we want. Plate appearance result, home run. Yeah, there we go. Let's check this out. So only two. Two home runs off the changeup from Ryu. I believe this we're looking at the one that was on a 3-2 count. No, we're looking at the one that was on a 1-2 count. So this Michael A. Taylor one. This was supposed to be the third best pitch to get hit for a homer this season. All right. Smoked pretty good. First pitch of the at bat, which is interesting. That Michael A. Taylor was looking for. Oh, just kidding, just kidding. 1-2 pitch. So 1-2 pitch, 2 strikes. I guess Ryu may have a reputation for throwing a changeup with 2 strikes to opposite-handed hitters. He doesn't really have like a sweeping breaking ball, and he kind of relies more on movement. So it makes sense that he'd be throwing a changeup here. Um, and it's not. It's a pretty good pitch. You can tell. Because it was in the zone and probably would have been called a strike if it wasn't swung at. So the model's going to like that a lot. But Michael A. Taylor was just seemed to be sitting on it. And if a good hitter is sitting on a pitch, it doesn't really matter how good that pitch is, right? So let's watch it again. Pretty hard hit. So anyway, very good pitch, very good pitcher pitch type, reused changeup, and it got taken deep. So that's kind of cool. All right, let's look now for the worst pitch that the pitcher got away with. Yeah, so okay, so this pitch was expected to um, be worth about 0.1 runs for the offense, and Kershaw was able to turn that into an out here. So interesting that he is appearing on both lists. So we have 0-0, 1 out, 6th inning slider for Kersh. 0-0, 1 out, 6th inning slider. Kershaw is known best for his curveball, but we've seen his fastball and his slider in this video. Interesting. All right. No results. I messed it up. 6th inning, 0-0, 1 out slider. 6th inning. Oh, we're not looking for home runs anymore. Sweet. All right. And we are looking for the ground out, not the foul tip. Let's check it. So this is supposed to be a pitch that's expected to get hit and was not. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. 88, 87.5 mile an hour, seemingly hanging slider. Middle. I will move myself. Middle. And Cole Calhoun just plainly missed it. That actually looked more like a fastball to me. I know Kershaw's fastball's around that velocity, so maybe that play, if it was categorized as a slider, then it would have been judged by the slider model. And I'm not really sure what happens when you ask the slider model how good a fastball is. So maybe that was a misclassification there. But oh, I love Oliver Drake. I really enjoy watching him pitch. So we have similar situation, but 8th inning and a fastball here. So let's check that out. See how lucky Oliver Drake got. We saw there Kershaw got pretty lucky. So we are looking at the 8th inning now. I think this was a 4-seam that we're looking at. But it doesn't matter. Okay. Yep, 4-seam. Pop out into foul territory. Interesting. So let's see. Is this a hanger? Is the question. Well, not. I guess you can't hang a fastball, but it was right down the middle. 91. Pop out. Oliver Drake is known for being one of the most deceptive pitchers, however you want to define that. Super interesting that he's on the extreme first base side of the rubber. Like, I don't even think that his foot is touching the mound, which is kind of interesting, but very deceptive pitcher. Maybe makes sense that he's able to, get away with 91 fastball right down the middle to a pretty good hitter. So let's check it out again. Yeah, he got lucky. I think that this metric, or sorry, this query, looking at which pitchers are getting bailed out the most, I think that is doing a lot better than the alternative, the pitchers that the best pitches to get hit. Okay, so that was the last one I had. I actually just got a suggestion from Enoceris on Twitter. And so I'm going to be doing a little bit of live coding to make that happen. So he said, best pitch inside or outside the zone. So the best pitch overall, the best individual pitch that we found that we ran earlier was this Aaron loop cutter that was kind of like right down the middle. So that's going to be the best pitch inside the zone. And then I guess there were a couple other pitches that were that we looked at that were outside the zone that were pretty good. I think I'm going to skip that one um, for a bit because I like his second suggestion better, which was the best 2-0 pitch. So I'm going to take this this code right here and repurpose. And we're going to find the best 2-0 pitch. So balls is 0. Sorry, 2. Strikes is 0. And this should be good. So sweet. So what are we looking for on a 2-0 pitch? On a 2-0 pitch, we don't want to get to 3-0, right? So we're looking for a pitch in the zone, but we also know that the hitter is probably going to be swinging, and we don't want him to hit a massive home run or really hard extra base hit off of that. So it's kind of like towing a line, right? Interesting that the first two results here are sinkers from kind of sinker ball specialists, and then the next few are changeups. But let's check out this first one here. So we have 2-0 no outs in the first inning by Randy Dobnak, a twin. Pretty cool. 2-0 count with no outs in the first inning. Everything else is clear. Randy. He had a pretty good season last or 2019, and then 2018 did not live up to it as much. Best 2-0 pitch, field out. Okay, so this is this one. It's a line out. Okie dokie. So not great, I'd say. He threw this sinker that Dobnak throws is a bowling ball. As you can see, it's a lot of arm side movement, a lot of depth. Placement's not great. It's right in the bat path of Whit Merrifield, who's able to elevate on it. Clearly, he missed it just a little bit. Only hitting it 86.2 miles an hour. I probably would have expected more, but kind of just I think a little bit lucky that this ended up being a line out and not a double in the gap. So a little bit confused by that result from the model. But let's check out another one. We have 2 Dallas Keuchels. I'm gonna check that one out. Let's see. We have a changeup fielder's choice and a changeup out. Shouldn't matter too much. So 2 out, 1 on in the 5th inning for Keuchel. Close some of those out. 5th inning, 1 out for Dallas. He has a couple. We are looking for the one, I believe it was an out. We have 2 ground outs. I guess we'll have to check out the date. 9-1. Date 9-1. Here we go. Okay. Looks like a lot going on this play. So this, as a reminder, is supposed to be among the best 2-0 pitches this season. That's a good 2-0 pitch, I think. Ooh, almost got the double play here, which is exactly what you want in that case, obviously. look at the location on this changeup. First of all, it's a really good changeup. 78.9 miles an hour. Keuchel's fastball is around, 89, 90, I believe. So, he's still dropping 10 to 12 miles an hour off of that fastball with this changeup. And I think he throws a sinker as well, kind of sinker cutter mix. So this changeup probably has similar movement to the sinker, but is 10 to 12 miles an hour less. So that's pretty good. Let's look at the location of this pitch. Like, that's a good spot. If you can see where the dot is, I'll play it a little bit more. That's a really good spot for a 2-0 pitch, a 2-0 changeup. Hitter is probably going to be hunting for a fastball or just something to hit. This pitch would have looked like it was going to be hittable, look like a sinker, and then fade away and very slowly to become a changeup. You get the hitter right out in front of it, and he rolls over, and you get the ground ball you're looking for. And in a perfect world, you get this double play. If the MVP first baseman makes the grab. But that I think that this is one of the better. This is probably a better 2-0 pitch than the one that I originally said was the best one. But let's do one more. Let's look at this Sean Manaea no out fourth inning change up as well, and see what we think, if we think that this is going to be like a good 2-0 pitch, like we're looking at. Manaea. And I know Eno pays close attention to the A's, so this is in response to his question. So kind of cool that we get an A's guy here. There we go. So we're looking for an out. Of the 5 2-0 changeups that Sean Manaea threw this year, only one was an out. It was a Will Myers flyout. Yeah, so an outside pitch, very well located right here. Not on the black, it catches a little bit of plate, but 82 miles an hour. Again, that's dropping a lot of velocity from his typical fastball, which is probably what hitters are hunting in a 2-0 count. So kind of interesting that we're seeing a lot of changeups. I'm actually going to go back to our code and get more than 5 pitches. Let's try 15. Yeah, and look at the pitch types here. So sinker, 3 changeups, cutter, sinker, more fastballs, more sinkers, and mostly fastball. So it looks like these 3 changeups are almost outliers a little bit in that they were doing really well. I was thinking, looking at the top 4 or top 5, that like, oh, the changeup might be the best 2-0 pitch to throw because everyone's looking for a fastball. You throw a well-located changeup and you get a rollover. Doesn't look like that's happening all that often, but still kind of cool. So, yeah, so that's the best 2-0 pitch. I'm just curious. I'm going to go to the best 0-2 pitch. Just a reminder that this model does not take the count or any situational aspects, like who's on base, like if you're winning or not. Anything situational is not being taken into account by this model by design. I kind of wanted to look at, if this pitch was thrown 100 times, what's going to happen on average, not necessarily if this pitch was thrown 100 times in this specific situation, what would happen. So for that reason, these 0-2 pitches, usually an 0-2 pitch is worth a lot more than an 0-0 pitch, right? Because you have the chance to get an out. But in this case, the 0-2 pitches, it's just their grade, the pitch grade, it happens independent of the fact that this pitch happened with 2 strikes. So with that being said, let's take a look at the best 0-2 pitches of the year in a vacuum. We have a Julio Urias fastball and a Julio Urias curveball. Looks like he knows how to put batters away. Not with a strikeout, I guess, but with field outs. So that's something that we've noticed by now is that this um, this model loves outs, like outs, and outs don't happen on strikes very often, especially if you're looking at it as a context neutral situation. Every strike is just worth the same amount. Um, so for that reason, it's not. Um, for that reason, the model is going to be very I wouldn't say biased, but preferential towards outs. So on O2, you may think, okay, the best O2 pitch is like a wipeout slider that gets a strikeout. With this model, the best O2 pitch is going to be a pitch that gets weak contact. And that's kind of what I expect to see here on this Julio Urias fastball. We're looking for a fastball that was an out in play. So that has to be this line out. Um, so let's take a look. Okay, so that was hit pretty hard, but really good location. The velo being 92, probably if this was thrown harder, it would rate a little bit higher. But on O2, this is not a. I don't think this is a bad place, and a bad pitch to throw. Um, Looks like he's got it exactly where he wanted, which was up and in. Aledmus Diaz looks like he's ready for it. He pulls it, meaning he was early on it, if anything, not late. So maybe not a great pitch call, given that the hitter was totally prepared for it. But obviously they didn't know that when they called the pitch. So I like this pitch call, and um, probably not the best result, getting a hard line out instead of a strikeout or weak contact, but um, you know, on average, I should say, this seems like it'd be a pretty good pitch. Let's watch it again. Yeah, I don't know how Julio Urias's fastball plays up in the zone. Kind of interesting. I suspect it's not great. Um, but let's look at that curveball. So no outs, fourth inning, curveball. Quickly, fourth inning, no outs. Still Urias, still 0-2. Julio Urias, he ended up being kind of one of the stars of this model. He has been in the league a long time, um, so I think he kind of gets overlooked as one of the game's kind of exciting young pitchers. Um, but he definitely has some good stuff. All right, here we go. 0-2 curveball. Interesting. That curveball is not really doesn't have a ton of horizontal movement. It doesn't look like it looks kind of more slurvy. But really good location again. Location is not the only thing in this model, but it's definitely important. 82 miles an hour out here on the black. This kind of reminds me of one of the earlier pitches that we saw where Trent Grisham rolled over to the other side. It just seems like on 0-2, this pitch is either going to be, freeze him for a strike, for a called strike, maybe fouled off, but probably not hit all that hard. Jake Lamb did hit it pretty hard here, but on average, it doesn't seem like this is like the most likely outcome. Um, so, not a bad 0-2 pitch. If you're trying to get like a field out, I may have thrown one that wasn't in the strike zone and try to get a whiff. Um, a whiff on two strikes is obviously more valuable than a ball in play, because a ball in play, anything could happen, could be an error, could be a hit, and a whiff on two strikes is a guaranteed out. So I guess maybe not a guaranteed out if it's a drop third strike, but other than that, it's a pretty good outcome. But in a context neutral situation, that's this kind of pitch makes sense to be really good on 0-2 because you got an out, and you probably will get a lot of outs. So I'm rambling at this point. We've been doing this for a while. I have nothing else to say. Let's check out Urias real quick, just to see what he's got going on. So he has two pitches in the negative. Not that many pitcher pitch types are in the negative here. So 107 xRV plus, 106 xRV plus. his curveball and fastball. If we take the pitch count off, we see, okay, through 4 sinkers, they weren't very good. Through some sliders, this model doesn't like those very much. Through some changeups, 102 xRV plus, so not bad. And then I don't even know what this is. CS, it's whatever you think it is. Like I have no idea. But this isn't like a common pitch. I probably should have. I actually don't know how a pitch like that got predictions made on it, because I thought I filtered those out earlier on. But oh, it actually didn't. See, that's the xRV is 0. So anyway, that shouldn't show up there. But anyway, Julio Urias, pretty good. So after all this, thank you for watching. If you're still watching, I'm honestly pretty surprised. But let me know if you enjoyed this, and maybe I'll do something similar in the future with graphing or something else. Could be fun. So anyway, thanks for watching, and have a good one.